Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, and let's send Nick Jaladian with one of Nickelodeon's most recent films, the Spongebob movie, Sponge Out of Water. Not really sure if this really does act as a sequel to the first Spongebob movie. Because, as I said before, the first movie really was not in connection with the show at all. In the first movie, Plankton stole the secret formula and he finally learned what it was. And then, after the movie, back in the show, Plankton was still searching for the secret formula. And yeah, it was pretty much as if the first movie had never happened. So, yeah, once again in this movie, they do kind of once again, treat it like it didn't happen. Plankton is still going after the secret formula in this movie. And, yeah, there's, some stuff that happens, and I'll get to it. So, I said before, when I made the video asking, when the last time a hand-drawn anime movie was made, I remember I said, the last one I could remember was the 2011 Winnie the Pooh movie, but it turns out it's actually this one. I said in that video that this was really all CGI or live action, but it's not. A lot of this movie really is hand-drawn animation. When I made that video, I actually hadn't seen this film before. I didn't see this film until just when I watched it to make this review now. So, yeah, I stand corrected. This has been the last hand-drawn animated movie that's been made so far that I know of. So, yeah, I just was under the impression, with all the previews for this movie just showing, the CG and live action stuff, I was under the impression that that was just all this movie was. Yeah, but no, it turned out that this movie still does have the traditional hand-drawn animation like the show did in the first movie. So, yeah. And as far as how this movie goes, I still do think it is a pretty good movie. It isn't anywhere near as good as the other SpongeBob movie, but I still think it is a pretty good movie. The premise for this is kind of strange, really, and it really kind of doesn't make much sense. Well, not much sense, but a lot of sense. And, in this movie, the Krabby Patty formula goes missing, and everybody, accuses Plankton of taking it, but SpongeBob is the only one that knows that Plankton didn't do it. The formula just, disappeared. Or that SpongeBob and Plankton are fighting over it. And so, since the formula is gone, and, they can't make any Krabby Patties without knowing the secret recipe. And so, pretty much everybody in Bikini Bottom starts acting really angry mobs and just changing. They act as if an apocalypse has happened in Bikini Bottom, and everybody is just going nuts, and everybody is just changing and just causing vandalism throughout the entire town. Yeah, and also this movie, as I said, it does have a lot of live action portion. It has a lot more live action in it than the first SpongeBob movie does. The first SpongeBob movie really only had those pirates that went to go see the movie in a theater and just had a few cutaways with those pirates. Here, it's a lot more live action. We see the burger beard. Why can't I ever say it? I say burger when I mean booger, and then I say booger when I mean burger. Why can't I talk right when I say that? The pirate Burger Beard. We see a lot of cutaways with him in this movie. And yeah, it turns out he's the one behind what's going on in Bikini Bottom and stuff. He's just trying to do his own business with Krabby Patties and stuff, and yeah, the movie does really get as good as it does when it goes to SpongeBob and the others going up to the shore as CGI characters. Yeah, I really do like it when they actually go to the surface and they pretty much in the human world. And I do like how they actually do make it live action instead of like having it be animated or stuff. I do like how it is a mix of live action in it. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, in this movie, they have something where like SpongeBob and Plankton encounter a dolphin named Bubbles, and Bubbles is like magical, and he gives SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, Mr. Krabs powers to be able to breathe either above the surface. But yeah, that's also kind of a problem, kind of a continuity here, because remember the episode of the show where like the sea creature, like SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs were arguing with Sandy over about land creatures and sea creatures, which one being better. And then you have the point where SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, and Squidward go up to the surface, and yet they were just fine. I mean, no, when they like go into Sandy's tree dome, they can't breathe. They need to actually have water, and so they go in with like those water helmets. But in that episode, like all they were just fine. They just like became like actual things of what they were. So a sponge, starfish, crab, and octopus. They just became real things of those. So yeah, but in that episode they were just fine. So why did they need like the power to do it in this movie when they go up the surface? So yeah, kind of like that really doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah, and yeah, whenever they went up to most of the time when they went up the surface in the show, that still happened to them. They just became real things of what they were. So yeah, kind of like a continuity error right there. And yeah, as I said, like they treat the first movie as if it never happened, with Plankton still trying to go after the formula. And plus, it does like kind of go overboard with like the people in Bikini Bottom like making as big a deal of it as they are about the formula just going missing. It's like we're just going into something completely different. Doesn't really feel like SpongeBob. But overall, I still do like the movie. Yeah, I would probably give this movie 3 stars out of 4. Yeah, like I said, nowhere as good as the first SpongeBob movie, but yeah, it is still a pretty enjoyable movie. Yeah, so yeah, let me just go right into it. So the movie opens up on the island Bikini Atoll, where Burger Beer, I said it right, played by Antonio Banderas, and yeah, it was kind of cool to see Antonio Banderas play pirate in this movie. Yeah, and he eventually comes across a magical book that has the power to make anything written in it come true. And Burger Beard ends up getting into a fight with like a skeleton that was holding the book, and then the skeleton ends up just knocking Burger Beard back to a ship. Then Burger Beard just ends up telling the story of SpongeBob. And then, like, he's surrounded by a bunch of seagulls, and the seagulls can, like, talk. And they started to sing the SpongeBob theme song, but then he just stopped them from doing it. And, yeah, Burger Beard was just telling them the story of SpongeBob, just the stuff that we know. SpongeBob working at the Krusty Krab, and, yeah, just a faithful employee for the Krusty Krab, and, yeah, and just telling about Plankton across the street and all that stuff. Yeah, you all know about that. And then there was like a military-style attack on the Krusty Krab from Plankton. And he was just like shooting a bunch of food and condiments at them. And eventually Plankton ends up surrendering. Like, yeah, as this was all going on, like, it was showing that Sandy was ordering from the drive-thru of the Krusty Krab. And, yeah, kind of, like, that's the first time I remember ever seeing a drive-thru in the Krusty Krab. I mean, was this in the show? I mean, yeah, I really haven't watched a lot of the newer seasons of SpongeBob. So yeah, is that like how it is? Did they ever reveal like a drive-through in like the newer episodes of the show? Because yeah, I don't remember ever seeing a drive-through in the show, but yeah. And as I said, Plankton ends up surrendering, and he ends up like giving Mr. Krabs a penny, and you know how greedy Mr. Krabs is with money, and Mr. Krabs ends up taking it, and then he puts the penny inside his vault where he actually keeps the secret formula. Then it showed Plankton leaving and then just crying next to the Krusty Krab sign. But then it was revealed that it was just like a robot Plankton that was walking out, and the real Plankton was actually hiding inside of the penny. And then, yeah, Plankton then was tried to steal the secret formula again, and he even like swapped it with a fake one that he made to put in the formula's place. And SpongeBob eventually caught Plankton stealing the formula. SpongeBob and Plankton were just fighting over the formula, just having a tug of war over it, and then all of a sudden it just vanished. And then just Mr. Krabs then discovered the secret formula was gone, and of course he accused Plankton of taking it. But SpongeBob tried to tell Mr. Krabs that Plankton didn't do it and that it just disappeared, but of course nobody believed SpongeBob, and they did believe Plankton was stealing it. Yeah. And then, and as like the entire Mr. Krabs then tried to just tell all of his customers after they wanted refunds that Plankton is the one that is responsible for the secret formula being gone, and so Mr. Krabs had convince all the customers to just go after Plankton, and then Plankton ended up being surrounded, but SpongeBob helped Plankton escape by just blowing a giant bubble, well, that just had Plankton in it, and just floated off. And then, after that, and as that's going on, like somewhere around here, Burger Beard was just like saying that that's how his story ended. And of course the seagulls weren't buying it, even after like Burger Beard just like wrote in himself that it was the end. Yeah, the seagulls then just ripped out the page that Burger Beard wrote the end on, and it fell down underwater, and it actually landed on Sandy's tree dome. And after Sandy saw like the giant page and said the end, Sandy felt that it was just like something from society or something saying that it ended. And then, Sandy ended up going nuts, and everybody in Bikini Bottom just started going nuts also. Oh yeah. And then, Mr. Krabs was just saying the Bikini Bottom has just been going under an apocalypse, and then that's just when, like, there were fires blazing throughout the whole city, and there was just, like, vandalism of buildings and stuff, and everybody in Bikini Bottom was just going nuts, and, SpongeBob just saw that everybody, all of his, like, friends were going nuts. Patrick was going nuts, Sandy was going nuts, and even Gary was going nuts too. And SpongeBob then just proposed to Plankton that they should team up to get the secret formula back. And SpongeBob tried to just teach Plankton the meaning of teamwork, and Plankton just didn't understand it. And they eventually discovered that Plankton's computer wife, Karen, ended up being like held prisoner inside the chum bucket, and the two of them worked together to rescue Karen. And then Plankton and SpongeBob then decide to just try to come up with a time machine to take them back in time before the secret formula had actually disappeared. And so they end up building the time machine at some abandoned taco restaurant. And then when they used the time machine. It actually ends up like just taking them into the future. First, just a few days in the future, and then they end up going further, where they then meet Dolphin Bubbles, and Bubbles has a job of watching over the solar system. And as Bubbles was like gonna go to the bathroom, he had SpongeBob and Plankton watch over the solar system to make sure it was okay. And then it turned out that Jupiter and Saturn had actually ended up crashing into each other and shattering. And as like just Bubbles was starting to like call them out about that, then SpongeBob and Plankton then used the time machine again, and then it eventually brought them back to the moment where Plankton was trying to steal the formula, and then they actually like bursted in on their like past selves, and as Plankton was trying to talk to the past SpongeBob, SpongeBob was reaching in to try to retrieve the secret formula. And yeah, SpongeBob eventually ended up retrieving what he thought was the secret formula. Then they brought it back to their present time. And then they tried to show Mr. Krabs the secret formula, but then it turned out that it was the fake one that Plankton had actually made. And yeah, as that's going on, then Big Burger eventually ended up arriving to shore on the beach. Then he ended up like having his own Krabby Patty place, as I said, and he just headed out of his ship and just converted it into a truck, and he was just selling Krabby Patties at his own like bar, I guess you can say, that he called Salty Shoals. Yeah, kind of like a similar name to the retirement home that Mermaid and Barnacle Boy live at, Shady Shoals. And then Sandy eventually arrived back at the Krusty Krab, and she felt that the page that landed on her tree dome is a sign from the Sandwich Gods, and they then decided that they should make a sacrifice to appease the gods. And then SpongeBob then just told everybody that he should be the one sacrificed, and everybody then just agreed to make SpongeBob the sacrifice. And as they were about to sacrifice SpongeBob then smelled the scent of Krabby Patties, and then Mr. Krabs and everybody else started smelling it too. And so then everybody just went back to their normal selves, and then they were just following the smell, and then they eventually discovered that it led up over the surface. And so then Bubbles returned, and then he told SpongeBob that he's glad that Bubbles lost his job, because he just hated his job. And so he decided to grant SpongeBob, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Squidward, and Sandy the ability to breathe on land. And then it showed like Plankton also sneaking in and with them, and he was like hiding in one of SpongeBob's socks. And then yeah, Bubbles then shot them up to the surface, and they landed on the beach. And then yeah, as I said, they were all CG and now like in the real world. Well, and they eventually did find where the Krabby Patties were coming from, and then they confronted Burger Beard about it. And Burger Beard then revealed that he was the one that stole the secret formula, and he actually wrote it in the story that the formula disappeared. And then Burger Beard ended up banishing the five of them to Pelican Island. And then it turned out like Squidward ended up like blowing out some ink, and then SpongeBob then like wrote in with Squidward's ink on the page that they had, and that the five of them like transformed into like superheroes with powers. Like Spongebob named himself the Invincible Bubble, Patrick was named Super Awesomeness, Squidward was named Sour Note, Mr. Krabs was named Sir Pinch-A-Lot, and Sandy was named the Rodent. And it was funny, like, with Sandy as a superhero, she was basically just an actual regular squirrel. They're all just like bigger and stuff. Yeah, and SpongeBob just had the power to like shoot out of like really big bubbles to capture things. And Mr. Krabs was like basically a robot able to like shoot out his claw pincher. There's his hands, yeah. Squidward just had the power to like use his clarinet to make like big notes to distract people, and Patrick just had the power to like bring in some ice cream and stuff. Yeah. And then they like were chasing down Burger Beard some more as he was driving off with the formula, and SpongeBob used his bubble powers to get rid of the book and have it float off, and Burger Beard was trying to go after the book. Okay, but then it was eventually and was destroyed. And then they tried to go after, like, capture Burger Beard some more, but Burger King was just picking off all of them one by one. And when it looked like Burger Beard had won, then it then showed Plankton, and also like with some special powers that he wrote himself to have. And yeah, Plankton named himself Plankton, and he was just like really huge and muscle bound. He was pretty much like the Hulk. And Plankton came to help them take Burger Beard out. Plankton ended up like recovering the formula, and then Plankton and SpongeBob then just worked together and created another attack, and it just blew Burger Beard all the way back to Bikini Atoll. And then Plankton then just returned the formula back to Mr. Krabs, and then SpongeBob just wrote in on the page that they all just returned Bikini Bottom, and pretty much everything went back to normal. And then yeah, they had the formula back, and yeah, SpongeBob, everything just was back to normal, and yeah, SpongeBob was able to make Krabby Patties again for all the customers, and then just show Plankton then just was going back to his role as the business rival, and everything going back to normal. And then back on the island with Burger Beard and the seagulls, it was like Burger Beard was like in the sand with just his head sticking out. And then it just like the seagulls put just like a picture frame him like in front of his head, and then and Burger Beard just like decided to let them sing the SpongeBob theme song, and then it just became like a cartoon still, like a 2D animated still, and it showed like Burger Beard becoming like the pirate that we see at the beginning of the SpongeBob opening, and then yeah, then actually had the real SpongeBob theme song that is actually the one from the show. It just showed them like Bubbles coming and just interjecting in it, and it was just kind of pointless because then you just decided to let them continue singing the theme song and stuff, and so yeah, that's how the movie ended. So as I said, 3 stars out of 4. I do think it's a pretty good movie. I actually felt that this actually could have worked good if it was actually working as like an actual finale for for SpongeBob altogether. But yeah, they're still continuing the show now, so yeah, so I think SpongeBob is probably like Nickelodeon's longest running show now. I mean, it's been going since 1999, so yeah, like 17 years ongoing now. So yes, it is Nickelodeon's longest running show of all time now. So yeah, I mean, we'll just see how long it goes. Yeah, I've heard like there's talks of Steve Hillenburg coming back to the show. If he does, the show may get better. As I said before, after the first movie, he just left the show together, and ever since then, the show has pretty much been in Paul Tibbitt's hands, and he was the one who directed this movie. So yeah, I've heard talk about Steve Hillenburg returning to the show. If he does return, the show will probably get better, and it will probably like actually feel like how the show did during its first 3 seasons. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, this, like I said, I give this movie 3 stars out of 4. Yeah, not as good as the first movie, but it is still enjoyable. Alright, so that does it for my review of SpongeBob movie Sponge Out of Water, and this does it for Nick Geladian. I hope you guys enjoyed watching these Nickelodeon movie reviews. And this Nick Geladian, entire Nick Geladian. Yeah, I just wanted to like do something kind of different than what I have done before. or since I've never really did anything regarding Nickelodeon prior to this month. So I hope you guys did enjoy all these reviews that I made for the Nickelodeon movies. And yeah, now that I've gotten this done, as I said, I'll try to take a break from making movie reviews for the next few months. And then I'll just kind of go back. I'll kind of stick to making just videos on other subjects and not review any movies for a little while. Alright, but I hope you guys enjoyed Nick July, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.